Because I was only 20 and a half years old when I applied, they dug deep. So deep that they went back to my high school and college to investigate me. They interviewed old teachers, old professors, classmates, anyone who they could find. They went to my parents' neighborhood and knocked on doors. At that age, my work history was short. I had only held two jobs before stepping into the police department's hiring process. My first job was at the mall, working customer service. I sat at the kiosk in the center court, responded to a steady hum of foot traffic and the scent of pretzels and perfume drifting from nearby stores. People came to me with every question imaginable. Where's the ATM? While standing almost directly in front of the ATM. I would point, they'd turn, relieved, thanking me as if I had just given them the coordinates to a buried treasure. But my favorite part was reuniting lost children with their parents. Security would walk with a small nervous child clinging to a teddy bear, a toy, or a juice box, eyes wide, and I gently asked them their name and who were they with. Sometimes they didn't know. Those moments were both heartbreaking but a little funny. Children living so fully in their own little worlds that mom or dad wasn't a name, it was a role. It was always my pleasure to take the mall's intercom and say in my best but calm, authoritative voice, "Can Christopher's dad please come to the customer service booth? Can Christopher's dad please respond to the customer service booth?" While we waited, I'd hand out coloring books, crayons, and small toys, watching their faces relax as they got absorbed in scribbling in their own quiet reward. After that job, I started working at the neighborhood YMCA, and I split my time between the front desk and the daycare. I quickly discovered something that I hadn't expected. I really liked working with kids. There was a freedom in their thoughts, a blunt honesty adults had long since learned to edit out for themselves. They told the truth without calculating the cost, and it reminded me of a time in my life when I could say what I meant without someone pressuring me to revise it. Those early jobs seemed a world away once I was in the police department's background process. It was exhausting, time consuming, and it was just a glimpse into how much effort was put into creating a police officer. It was like being picked apart one layer at a time, being investigated for every decision that I ever made. I don't even know what really made me say yes. Yep, I have to do this. I have to be here. Getting abused mentally, emotionally, and physically. I told myself that I wanted to make a difference in children's lives at that point. Maybe it was the stubbornness to believe that I could. Maybe it was the belief that if I could just make it through, it would all be worth it. By the time I had reflected on that, I had already fought tooth and nail to reach week 17 out of 21 weeks of the academy. 4 weeks shy of the finish line. Every bruise, every moment of doubt, every test I'd passed felt heavier on my back. But I was not going to drop this backpack now. My recruit training officers were monsters. Not the kind that only lived in the shadows, but the kind that smiled in your face while calculating exactly how to break you. From bridge to orientation, it was as if they made an unspoken pact. We will punish her for sport. Their enjoyment was never subtle. It was written in the way their eyes lingered on me, in the smirks they traded with each other before calling me out or another project out, in the calculating silences before they unleashed the next wave of humiliation. They were demonic in their pettiness, predatory in their approach, and razor sharp in their cruelty. The head recruit training officer was the ringleader, always brimming with a sinister idea of new ways to torment me and the other projects. I understand the breaking to build up, but this was not that. She was naturally heavy set, but in my eyes she had ballooned to something bigger than her body. Her presence was so imposing, and I felt like she took up more oxygen than the rest of us combined. My private nickname for her was TW, tall and wide. She wore her hair in a high and tight mullet that seemed to accentuate how her chin, neck, and chest all blended into one single immovable blob. She never worked out. She never sweated alongside of us, but somehow she could correct every form on everything, from planks to pull up, from burpees to squats, like a queen presiding over her subjects. It wasn't discipline, it was domination. My second RTO was her shadow, though in appearance she was directly opposite. Fit and wiry, a runner through and through, she ran with us daily, her voice slicing through the air with sharp commands, her pace punishing, daring us to fall behind. For her, exercise was a religion, and we were the unwilling congregation. I gave her credit for being a challenge. She made me faster and stronger, but beyond that, she was nothing more than a puppet. She did whatever was asked without hesitation. Her loyalty to the ringleader was absolute. Both of them made it their mission to lead with their sexuality, to proclaim it loudly, proudly, and often. I had no issue with that in itself, but it was the way that they wielded it was different. It was like a weapon. It was armor, yes, but also a flag, like a line drawn in the sand. Anything feminine was foreign to them, even offensive, and my femininity seemed to trigger their contempt. I was the only black female in the academy, and I hadn't come broken or timid. I had walked with my shoulders back. I had my hair braided in a neat bun, and I wore my hair always off my shoulders. My body was in peak condition, and I had the kind of natural femininity that I never had to put on. It just simply lived in me. My voice was high pitched, my hips had a rhythm and a sway, even in uniform, and I could run, and I could do military push ups, and I could do squats and pull ups, and all the things, and pass the physical test with ease. And I thought I'd be celebrated for that. Instead, it became my crime. From then on, it wasn't just the workouts, the drills, or the endless runs that tested me. It was surviving the constant heat of someone in authority deciding that I was their personal project. Whenever I yelled commands, they mocked me, rolling their eyes and smirking. They'd tell me that my voice had no command presence and would ask me in front of everyone why did I want this job. They called me Little Bit, short for little bit of nothing. The hazing had escalated. Every week it seemed to carry a new invention, a sharper edge of cruelty. One afternoon, when the sun pressed down like a punishment of its own, the temperature was climbing past 94 degrees. They ordered me to drop in full uniform, boots, belt, vest, and all, and give them an unbroken minute of military push ups. On the concrete, with the heat from the pavement biting into my palms, seared through my skin, I gave them 65 perfect military push ups because quitting was not an option. Their eyes on me, waiting for failure, I refused to give them that satisfaction. That day I managed to outsmart them, but that victory came at a cost. We were always required to keep our gun hand free. At any moment, they could scream, gun, and we would have to respond instantly, drop whatever was in our hand, draw our mock firearm, scan for threats, and react. If no threat was present, you bent down, eyes still searching, still assessing, and picked up what you had dropped down, then holster your weapon. If the threat was present, then we were trained to forget about the objects altogether and find cover and return fire. It was drilled into us until the command lived in our bones. After losing too many lunches, notebooks, and that one unforgettable hard-boiled egg that rolled across the asphalt while they laughed, I decided I wouldn't play their games anymore, and I retrained myself. I ate with my left hand. I held a notepad in my left hand. I held my phone and even moved my watch to my left wrist. My dominant hand stayed free, ready, and unburdened. It was a small rebellion, one they couldn't punish me for, but they found a way to do it anyway. It gave me a flicker of control in a world where they determined to strip me of all of it. By the end of the day, my palms were burned and blistered. By that evening, my hands were swollen so badly that I couldn't write, hold a firearm, and I received a first-degree burn and my blisters got infected. I was benched for weeks, missing critical training.